Hello, this is Father Michael Nasser from St. Nicholas Orthodox Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan for this week's midweek reflection. And like a lot of people, we've been reflecting on the event of this past weekend, which was the, of course, attempted assassination of former President Trump, and how really so much could have changed with just a little bit. Had he not turned his head, had maybe the wind not blown at that moment, who knows? But going from an injury to an ear to a fatal injury to the head, all with just a little bit of a little change that would make such a huge difference. Now, some people reflect on that and it would make them nervous, maybe increase their anxiety. Like if life is that fragile, that one little turn of the head, one little wisp of breeze can have that much effect, it might actually raise people's anxiety. I have the opposite, and I want to reflect on that. There is so much that we're nervous about, that we worry about, that we're anxious about things that happen. And sometimes we're so sure that things are going a certain way. People say, like, the country is going in the right direction, the country is going in the wrong direction. Well, none of us knows the future, but we think we do. We think we know how things are going, right? We think we know when we go into a conversation, well, that person's going to say this, and, oh, I know what they're going to do. And all this seeming assurance, when really we don't have a clue, and things can change, huge changes based on little changes. If we think about that, the reality is we're so unsure of things, and instead of being more anxious because of the lack of surety, we could say, well, you know what? We don't know what's going to happen. And that lack of surety could say that the things we worry about could actually turn out much better than we thought. That if life can take such a huge turn on small little changes, maybe there's much more possibility for positive things happening. A lot of people come and they'll talk to me about things, and they way too often bring to me an overassurance of things that they know to be true and aren't going to change. And I say, oh, do you have some kind of special gift of fortune telling? And we make a little joke out of it. The fact is, there's so little we know, and while we could be anxious about that, we also could grow our confidence, and specifically, confidence in God. If our lives hang on such thin little balances and things that we don't even know, near misses and other things that happen, and actually, we could actually conclude that, you know what, we're all in God's hands, and that's all we need to do. We don't need to be worried about it. We need to be afraid of it. We could just say, God, we trust you. We trust you that things could change that we don't anticipate. We also trust you that the things we think are going to happen probably aren't. There's so much fear in our society these days about things that people are sure is going to happen. Well, we don't know. And things could turn out so much better on these things that we're so afraid of. So I'm hoping that in the wake of the event that we saw this past weekend, instead of reacting with more fear and more anxiety, we might take the opposite turn and say, you know what, there's so little control we have because little things can have big changes. If we just keep trusting in God, even the things that we're worried about because they look like they're bad things are going to happen, great things can come out of things that we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. That lack of surety could bring us to trust in God. Our trust in God could bring us all the peace and contentment that we're looking for. So I hope we'll do that. I hope we'll realize that we don't control our lives. That was an illusion from the beginning, and we don't need to, because God is the one that knows everything, and He's the one that knows how to love much better than we do. He's shown us in everything He's done for us that everything He does is about us and about His love for us, and all we need to do is take this openness and this unsurety and go, God, it's in your hands, and we do what we can do, and we stop worrying, and we stop being so sure of what's going to happen, and just let God lead our lives, let Him show us minute by minute what life is going to bring, knowing that whatever it brings, He gives us exactly what we need to get us through absolutely everything. So I hope you find that helpful. If so, please share with your friends, and God willing, we'll see you in next week's video.